Hey guys, before we get into things, please subscribe to our channel and make sure you turn on notifications so you know every time we post. And also, head over to our social pages, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram so you can see clips and chat wrestling with us. But now, let's get into the video.
Yo, what's going on, guys? It's CTD from C2 Wrestling. SmackDown, first episode back on USA has just wrapped up, and I'm here to bring you the good and the bad, in my opinion, from the first episode. And I am not going to lie, I really liked it. I really did. There's a lot of things I want to talk about. There's some things that I found good and bad in them, and we're going to get into it. And we're getting right in to how they started the show. Besides Triple H opening the show, we expected it. Most of these big shows, he comes out, hypes up the crowd, then we get into it. Cody Rhodes and Solo in the steel cage. First off, absolutely loved how having a steel cage match felt fresh. Feels like I haven't seen a steel cage since War Games. I truly don't know if there's been a steel cage match on WWE programming since. It felt like a big match. Even to open the show, it felt like I was watching a big match. I was fully expecting interference, Bloodline 2.0 to get in, something wonky, Roman to come out, make the save. I was expecting that. I was not expecting Cody to first win the match clean. Him and Solo, Dunzo. He beats Solo. Few moments in the match where I was like, okay, here comes the bloodline. Didn't happen. Cody hits a second crossroads and wins. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. First off, I love getting back to just two crossroads finishing a match. I hate how many matches we have where Cody needs to hit literally six crossroads to win because he does the triple crossroads at the end. He's the champion. He's been booked strong. Let's have him win by himself. No interference against a member of the bloodline. So refreshing to have a match with a bloodline member finish without interference. Obviously, match ends, Bloodline 2.0 comes out. This is all in the good. This is all in the good section. Bloodline 2.0, Roman comes out. We then at that point can assume they're going to close the show, which, if you watched our video earlier today, that was our guess that they would open and close the show, considering this was announced to open the show. Love it. Cool. We're going to get our first promo from Roman. So I'll get into the middle of the show after I put a bow on the end of the show, Roman, Cody, Solo, as that goes on. Continuing with the good, I loved in the main event of the show, first off, loved that there was a overrun. Didn't feel, let moments breathe. No hard cutoff at 10. Got the extra 5 minutes. Let the stories play out. Loved that. Loved that Roman Reigns came out and was the same Roman Reigns. He cut the exact same promo that he would cut 6 months ago, a year ago, year and a half ago, 2 years ago, you name it. His character isn't different. We just cheer him now. There's nothing different about him. That's the beauty of it. What they've done is the things around him have changed, and that makes us cheer him now instead of boo him. But he's still the same person. And by still being that same person, that means him and Cody Rhodes are not friends. They still have issues. When Cody comes out, even after saying he doesn't want to be tag team partners with Roman, reluctantly, Roman hands him the contract at the very end. But before that, the stare down. Cody tells him, this was your WWE. It's my WWE now. Ever since WrestleMania. That's how it should be. They shouldn't be buddy buddy now just because Roman came back and he also has issues with Solo. Yes, the enemy of my enemy is my friend, but that doesn't make them best friends, especially given their past. I absolutely loved the continuity of that. They should not get along. They should be reluctant to work together as they were. But you have to put cooler heads in front of you and realize you need to work together to defeat Solo and Jacob Fatu, even if you don't like each other. I love that they're paired together and there's clearly friction between them as there should be, but it still makes sense as to why they would team right now. Now, the bad part of this is Cody ain't going anywhere in this bloodline story. It is very clear that we are now inching towards maybe we get the Talatonga debut at Bad Blood, but we are going towards War Games. And it is going to be Bloodline 2.0 versus Team Roman and Cody. That is quite clear now that that is the path we are taking. Whether it's Roman, Cody, Jimmy, and the Street Profits, or Roman, Cody, Jimmy, Jay, I don't know. But this is the bad part. Cody is now still stuck into this feud and will still be in this feud because we still have at some point him facing Roman again. We still have him and The Rock. Granted, when we get to him and The Rock, he might not be in the bloodline story at that point, but he left as part of the bloodline story. That's the bad part where Cody, instead of getting something fresh for him, which you're not going to get something brand new in time for Bad Blood, and it makes sense for this to be on Bad Blood, will probably main event it, especially given it's in Atlanta. But I can't imagine Roman Reigns' first match back teaming with Cody Rhodes in Atlanta, Georgia, isn't going to main event, even with CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, and Hell in a Cell. That match will probably open the show or be in the middle of the match, in the middle of the show, excuse me. So the good and then the one bad. I loved most of it all. The bad is Cody isn't going anywhere in the bloodline story, which has its positives and negatives. It's just, yeah, we've said it multiple times. I would love something fresh for Cody, but there are worse things. It's not the worst thing at the end of the day. The rest of SmackDown, let's get into the good and the bad. I'm going to jump around. This isn't going to be specific in order. We got the return of Randy Orton. Cool. Great. Love to see him back. Thought the little segment with Ricky was pretty cool. Gets a stunner. Would love to see them have Ricky on one more time or something. Not saying you got to go full James Ellsworth, but it was funny enough and got enough traction on Twitter that if he had one more segment or maybe an actual match, maybe Waller in theory, have him next week and they say this is the guy we were supposed to face and they beat him up, something like that. I thought that was very funny. I liked that. Randy and Owens being back together, I could go for a heel turn for one of them. I'm not saying it has to happen right away, but Owens and Randy, I'm not sure what would be next for them. They've had plenty with Waller and Theory. I mean, this dates back to WrestleMania at this point between those four. So I don't need more KO and Randy teaming if there's really no fresh matchups for them. If there's a fresh matchup, cool. Then I'm all for it. But I think we can kind of put a bow on those stories. Randy's now back on SmackDown. He's done with Gunther, obviously lost that match. He's not going to be on Raw anymore. That month is over. He's back in the mix on SmackDown. Like that. That was good. Another good thing, Andrade and Carmelo, they had their fifth match. Beautiful finish. Loved Andrade hitting his finisher off the middle rope. And we get the setup for Andrade versus LA Knight next week. Now, the bad part about that, LA Knight, once again, probably won't be on Bad Blood, won't be on another PLE. Little upsetting, but granted, it did seem that we were trending towards the Intercontinental Championship being defended at Bad Blood. Love LA Knight defending the title. Love him being on SmackDown every week with the title. Love that it's another title match on SmackDown. But I would like to see him defend the title on a PLE. He won it at SummerSlam and he wasn't on Berlin. Not looking like he's going to be on Bad Blood. To be fair, it's not like he has a Bad Blood type feud, but still, all for it. That's in the good and a little bit in the bad, not too much. We keep things going. Love the legends in the crowd. Thought that was awesome. Strong mix. I popped for King Booker and I popped for Bobby Roode. That everyone else was cool to see. RVD was awesome to see. But I just, you know, the TNA man in me was so happy to see Bobby Roode in the crowd and King Booker. That's like my childhood, one of my favorite characters as a kid. So both of those, Booker and Charmel and Bobby Roode, loved that. Legends in the crowd. Something that you expect on a show like this, but still was cool. More on the bad. Piper versus Mishin, only 2 minutes. Not saying I didn't need this match, but didn't really do much for me. I get kind of shoehorning it into the show. Granted, this match might have had a minute or two cut from Cody and Solo starting the show and from it being commercial free the first half hour. It just felt very quick. Felt, I don't want to say not needed because I understand its placement and I like Chelsea going after Mishin after and doing her unpretty her onto the garbage can, but only 2 minutes. Like, those are two wrestlers I would love to see get a little bit more time. Granted, on a show like tonight, time's probably tough considering Cody and the Bloodline took up about 45 minutes to 50 minutes of the show, just them two on a 2 hour, 5 minute show. So understood. Uh, Two last things that are under the bad for me. And these are more, one is nitpicky. The other one, I don't know if this is a hot take, but I'll say it anyway. So the nitpicky one, I like the new graphics. The new logo's kind of growing on me. I didn't like it at first. As the show went on, I started to like it more. Did not like how every time you saw a wrestler's height and weight, it did not match what the announcer was saying. Like it was way off. Said Randy was 250 and they announced him 290. Would like that to match up. Again, nitpicky, but just little things like that, you know, just looks odd. Um, that happened with a couple people, happened with Owens. Again, nitpicky, not the end of the world. Not going to be the reason you don't watch the show. But when you're WWE, you demand perfection. But the one thing that I will say I think is bad, and I think is the worst part of the show. And I don't know, I wasn't looking on Twitter to see people's thoughts. This is just purely how I felt. Absolutely hated the new theme music. Absolutely hated it. It just did not feel like a wrestling intro. And granted, I don't know what really does because there's always been such a wide range for Raw and SmackDown on their intro themes. The new intro itself looked cool, but the theme just felt so off. Like I could see that theme being a theme for a random PLE that's overseas. Like I could see that. But as every week on SmackDown, that just doesn't fit it for me. I do love that it is a mainstream singer or rapper, mainstream artists. Love that. I'll take that over Def Rebel Garbage. Absolutely. If that's the options, hopefully there's more of mainstream artists to come in the future, as reports are saying. But that theme, I think I could do it without. I know Nickelback could have whipped up something fire like they did back in the day, just saying. That was my biggest and that was right off the jump. So I got a little nervous, but the show was great. I enjoyed the show. Obviously had its highs and lows. Obviously there were stories already going. The last thing I'll mention, Bailey and Naomi teaming up next week to take on Nia and Tiffany Stratton. Sweet tag match. If the winner of Bailey and Naomi's team, that person would get a title shot at Bad Blood. If one of them gets pinned, they're gone from SmackDown. Cool. Love that little wrinkle. Makes the match next week mean even more than just, the expected, oh, they're going to win or they're going to lose. And then also starting to set up Nia Jackson, Tiffany Stratton versus Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair. What we've been begging for on this channel since before SummerSlam. That matchup. Love it. It all makes sense. I'm all for it. Love that direction. The stories on SmackDown, they just feel stronger right now than they did in the last few weeks. I mean, Roman being back helps, but all of them seem to have elevated, and there's still big things to come. We still have the return of Charlotte. We still have the return of Jimmy Uso. We still have the return of Paul Heyman. There's a lot more to come with SmackDown. And there's also a lot more to come on this channel. So I need you, please subscribe, leave a comment, like, share the video, go to our socials, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, Instagram, TikTok. We're on there. We're tweeting during live shows. We're posting clips. We're talking wrestling. Get in those comments. Get in this comments. We want to hear from you. We just love talking wrestling, and we love talking wrestling with all of you. So I've been CTD from C2 Wrestling. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace.